I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. This is 160 pages and 21 chapters. It's almost like a short story. And this is a collection of other horror stories. So the topic is horror, not my normal genre, but I really enjoyed this. This really drew me in. It was really almost scary how I was able to connect with the character. We're about the same age, same ethnicity, and all that stuff. I wasn't a big fan of the drinking. Like I don't normally drink that much. But I could see how if I was the last person on earth, that could be a problem. And, the isolation, dealing with all the pain and suffering that the main character went through. So, Neville has had a hard life. His wife and daughter both died, and he deals with that pain. But also, this is the struggle against a plague of vampires, which he later learns is bacteria. This is really about his journey, and there's really like three sections. It's kind of his first initial life and initial struggle, the setting. Then there's kind of you know, um, the normal. He sets up his house for, not necessarily defense, but he sets it up so that he can live in his house while surrounded by vampires. And then there's the different highs and lows along the way, when he finds the dog, when he meets the woman, and then the ending. So for me, I really enjoyed each section, and it definitely felt like a new layer. It was almost like almost each section was like a new book almost, in the way that the character interacted, the way that he interacted with himself, the world, the way he questioned things. So really enjoyed this. This has nothing to do with the book or the movie. The book is 300,000 times better. Just check it out. It's very worth your time. Even if you were unsure about the movie, the book is the way to go. So this was written in the 50s. It inspired a lot of horror. I read The Shining before I read this, actually, and there was a lot that was pulled from. There was that, the mallet, the wooden mallet, there was the drinking, just the style. Like, it was very heavily influenced a lot of American horror. So absolutely check this out. I didn't get the ending right away. I had to read through it again and like think about it, because it's all about perspectives. This whole thing, he's trying to understand the vampires, how it happened, why it happened. And as he goes through the book, he has his perspective change from he's a human, but then he becomes the legend. He becomes the vampire legend for the vampires. So that took me a long time to get a hold of. I may or may not have looked it up on Wikipedia. So I enjoyed this book more than I thought I would. I found myself even reading it at night, which is acceptable. It was a little hair-raising even during a storm, but yeah, I mean, it was emotional. Like, I was able to struggle with his loss and, his hope. It really, I kept wanting to read faster and get there's hope again and that kind of thing. So the whole roller coaster ride was part of the experience, and such a great author. And like I said, inspired a lot of American horror. This is I Am Legend. Absolutely get this book and read it. It is amazing. So there's a bunch of other short stories, but that was the big one. So there was a little quote here about the perspective, and it was really the main character for me was learning when talking with the woman. She said, "Did you ever see your face when you killed? I saw it, remember? It was frightening, and you weren't even killing then, you were just chasing me." He looks at the vampires and sees them killing, and he's like, man, but he killed vampires. So it's like that whole perspective shift is a key part, and it's happening throughout the whole book. The ending is pretty solid. It took me a little bit to get the hold of, but that's my own failings, nothing to do with the writer. So yeah, enjoy this book and buy your books used if you can.